Hello, I hope you've had a good week. Um, Last week I spoke about why we do tutoring in one-to-one in the child's home, and this week I thought I'd kind of like build on that and explain why we do lessons online as well. When I first started the tutoring in 2012, I was very much of the mindset that the child needed to be in an environment where they felt comfortable. And I also, in my mind, believed that if we were in the room with them, we could read their body language better, we could read their facial less expressions better, and we could use a better range of resources. I was 100% this was how we were going to do it. There was no exceptions pretty much because most kids don't want to tutor. And normally it's something that the parents have decided that they need rather than something that they've actually chosen for themselves. Although having said that, I did work, or a lady got in touch a couple of years ago, and I worked with her son, and apparently he had asked for a tutor for Christmas, but that was a one-off. It's never happened before, and it's never happened again since. But because it's not something the child wants, because it's something that they very often struggle with, well, I felt that we needed to break as many barriers as possible. And that's why lessons are one-to-one and in the child's home. And then one Wednesday afternoon in 2020, I was at a girl's house and the mum came in and said they're going to be closing down schools because of COVID. And at that point, I was kind of like, oh, in that case, that means I can move my lessons from an evening and a weekend down into the day. Oh, this is good. And by the time I got finished the lesson, got back out to the car, there was a message from one of the other mums saying, "Oh, I gather they're going to be closing down schools, so I've made our dining room area into a classroom for the boys. In tomorrow's lesson, please can we talk about a new timetable and talk about how things are going to progress from here?" Yeah, this is fine, no problem at all. I can ask her if they're happy to move into the daytime. And then suddenly it went a step further, and it wasn't just schools that were closing, it was we're not allowed to leave our homes. Oh, okay. So for the last 8 years at this point, my philosophy has been very much a case that all lessons are one-to-one and take place in the child's home. But if we're not allowed to leave our homes, then we suddenly have an issue because either the tutoring is going to come to an end, or I'm going to have to back down and change my mindset. So, apprehensively, I must admit, um, we started to offer online lessons. And one of the ladies that works with me, Rebecca, she's been with me for years and she's amazing, um, asked if we could have a Zoom call. I don't know how to use Zoom. She's, oh, it's fine. Let's do it like this. Okay. And we had a chat, and I thought, actually, well, Zoom is so much easier than Skype. And so we slowly moved from Skype onto Zoom. Well, no, my first couple of lessons were very much a case of it was actually with the two boys on the Thursday lesson. I had my phone, my camera on my phone, and I had it on Facebook chat, and I was trying to show them the resources which were laid on the table, and it was just a faff, and it just didn't work. And then I realized with Zoom, actually, I could share my screen. We could have the games that we'd normally play on the screen. We could annotate the screen. And one of the boys I was working with at the time, he kind of like literally taught me everything about Zoom. Let me say, so it became. I think he probably taught me as much in those lessons as I taught him. But it meant we could still have one-to-one lessons. It meant they could still be engaging because we could still use a different range of resources depending on where the child was at the time. And so the belief remained central that the main goal was to support the child emotionally and to help build their confidence as much as it was about trying to give them the knowledge that they needed. And it's not about how can we make the most money from this, it's about how can we best support the child. And it's also meant that for some families that since we've come out of lockdown, we've had the one-to-one lessons in the child's home and we've still got our online lessons. There's obviously a financial difference because online lessons, we're not having to travel to the child, we're not having to print out resources, we're not having to do this, we're not having to do that. We don't have to allow travel time, etc. So we can do online lessons for cheaper. And it means for some families that wouldn't be able to afford our face-to-face lessons, it still gives them the ability to have lessons through us. So the the goal has always been one-to-one lessons so that we can focus on the child's specific needs. And from there, it's also been a case of, and I think there's the other thing as well, is for some children having that distance. For some children, it makes it harder, but for some children, it makes it easier because if you're not in the room with me and I get it wrong, I feel there's a barrier. I don't feel so judged or in trouble. And very often, we have children bringing their pets along and they have their pet sat on their lap. They kind of sat there stroking it like the evil villain in the James Bond films. But it's it gives them that extra cushion. It again helps to remove one of the barriers to stress. And so that's how we happen to, or why we happen to move across from just offering one-to-one lessons to actually offering online lessons as well. And it has worked well. It's worked really well. Um, and as we move forward and we start to build the franchise, it's it's going to be these it's going to be about continuing to offer great tutoring. It's about removing what's in the way for the child and doing what we can to support, putting the child first and foremost, and then their family. I hope that wasn't just waffle. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Take care.